It's a homecoming Saturday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Every ticket for this game today is sold, got the grills going, and we are ready for American Conference football. The midshipmen of the Naval Academy looking for win number 2 in the league play, and the Charlotte 49ers playing their first ever home game as a member of the American Conference. And with that, we welcome you to Jerry Richardson Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Alongside Taylor McHargue, I'm Richard Cross. Morgan Uber will join us in just a moment. What a fun atmosphere for this game today.
No doubt. First game ever for Charlotte hosting an American Conference game, and you can feel the energy in the building. And on the other side for Navy, trying to build on that momentum from their first conference win last week against North Texas.
Let's talk quarterbacks as we go into this ball game. First,
feel the energy in the building, and on the other side for
this week, that new starter.
You will see Jalen Jones in this offense. They want
Lovatine.
And that his leadership coming.
Some of the stress is off of him. I think psychologically, the experience and what happened and the way it played out last week was good for him. He's had an awesome week of practice. Excited to watch him play today.
Your offense coming off of their best rushing performance of this season last week. How do you build on the run game's success?
We got to continue to execute better, and we got sustained drives, not getting our own way. When we don't get in our own way, we're pretty good.
Thanks so much, Coach. Best of luck. Appreciate it.
All right, Morgan, thank you very much. Biff Poggi, when we visited with him yesterday, said we need our offense to get off to a fast start. If we win the coin toss, we are going to take the ball. That's exactly what happened. Charlotte won the toss. They will get the ball to start things off. Evan Warren is set to kick it off for Navy. What a day. Temperatures in the low 70s, overcast. We had a little bit of rain this morning. It is out of here, and we are ready to go. Shadrick Byrd and Henry Rutledge back to return the opening kick for the Charlotte 49ers. Homecoming at Jerry Richardson Stadium. Saturday afternoon in the American Conference is underway. Short kick would be returnable, but a fair catch called for. Shadrick Byrd. And so Charlotte will go to work offensively at the 25-yard line with Trexler Ivy, the redshirt sophomore from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Played his high school ball at Wakefield, where he threw for nearly 7,000 yards and 71 touchdowns in 3 years as a starter. In the backfield with Ivy, you've got Shadrick Byrd. And the handoff is to Byrd. They start things out on the ground. One of the things that Charlotte wanted to really focus on today, Taylor, was staying on schedule.
Staying on schedule and getting to third and short and third and medium. This is one of the worst teams in college football right now in third down percentage, and that's because so often their third downs are 3rd and 7+, and that's why you see first down run game. We expect a lot of that today.
2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 459 yards. That is tops on this Charlotte team for Trexler Ivy. 2nd down and 6. Play action, quick pass, and it's incomplete, dangerously so. That one kind of bounced around, and that was Jalen Jones, who was the starting quarterback. They're going to play him in a lot of different spots today.
And this offensive staff, offensive coordinator Mike Miller talked to us about, they still want to get Jalen Jones 5 to 10 touches a game. He told us they're going to scheme up ways to get the ball in his hands right there. Quick screen on the outside. Unfortunately, it was a drop. And this goes right back to what we just talked about. 3rd and medium, can they pick up an early first down?
You see the 3rd down numbers for Charlotte, just a hair below 25%. That is last in the FBS. So trying to convert on 3rd and 6, a shift up front. Ivy pressured, can't get away from it, a sack. That's what Navy did a week ago. Colin Ramos with the sack there, coming off an 8-sack performance. They get one on the first 3rd down of the game today.
And Navy has one of the most aggressive front sevens in all of college football. They have to be, because they can't push you around up front. So what do? They bring consistent pressure. Colin Ramos, first one there. Then Luke Pierce, Conference Player of the Week last week in the American Conference. He cleans it up. And those two names, you're going to see a lot of them bringing pressure today for Navy.
We've got 2 good punters in the game today. Not a great punt there, and Navy will have outstanding field position for their first offensive possession, starting from their own 45-yard line. So here comes the Navy offense with Tai Lavatai at the quarterback position. Blake Horvath had been the starter. Taylor mentioned in the open the left thumb breaking. For the year, Lavatai, 419 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. After a 40-yard punt with no return, good field position for Navy as Lavatai in the offense starts things out in the shotgun. Amin Hassan on the carry, jet sweep. That was blown up in the backfield. And that is the playmaker and captain on the defensive side, Yabi Okianoma.
And Nakai Hill-Green is the one that's going to get credited with the tackle. But Richard, you're exactly right. Okianoma, he's the one that triggers in the backfield immediately and blows that play up. And a good job by 41 Nakai Hill-Green, the captain on that defensive side, coming up with the tackle.
Hassan getting back to the line of scrimmage was an accomplishment in and of itself. Now it's a handoff underneath. Alex Teska, leading rusher on this team, 428 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year, but not much on second down. And Navy has it 3rd and long. 3rd and 8 from the 42-yard line.
And this is the scenario. You don't want any offense to be in a 3rd and long position, but especially an offense like Navy that likes to run the football effectively. This is not a spot that you want to be in. Obvious passing down here on 3rd and 8.
Neither of these teams great on 3rd down. You see Navy at 111 on the season. Lavatai with time across the middle. Pass complete. And the tackle is short of the line to gain, so a decision for Navy. Maybe not much of a decision for Brian Newberry and his team. On the reception that time, Jaden Umbarger.
Well, if there's an offense in the country that you feel confident about being able to pick up a yard, even a half a yard, it's this Navy offense.
Teska is the fullback, directly behind Lavatai under center. This is a better rushing offense when Blake Horvath is in the game. A better passing offense when Lavatai is the quarterback. Horvath is not an option today. Lavatai keeps it himself, and with the second effort may have gotten it. That's going to be a 1st down for Navy at midfield.
You got it exactly right, Richard. This originally looks like he's going to be about a yard short. Contact made in the backfield. And credit to Tai Lavatai, getting off that initial contact, leaning forward, picking up that 1st down.
See Brian Newberry there on the sideline for Navy, his first head coaching job. He's been a defensive guy most of his career as a coordinator or an assistant at Washington and Lee and Sewanee and Northern Michigan and Kennesaw State. And he was the defensive coordinator here at Navy before being elevated to the head coaching position.
Ball start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
Penalties have been an issue for Navy. They get Trey Cummings back at right tackle. They were glad to have him in the game. But he picks up the 5-yard penalty.
15 penalties in the last 2 weeks combined, and that's just not what you've come to expect from really any of the service academies, Navy especially, and something that this staff has talked about how they have to clean up.
Yeah, 15 penalties in 2 games, very un-academy-like football. Teska straight ahead, and he is stacked up. And so far, pretty good work up front by the defensive line from Charlotte. Second and 12. Region's players to watch today. Teska, we've seen already with a couple of carries for Navy.
Just had a touch there. We've also seen Okianoma on the other side, one of the defensive captains, be disruptive.
Pitch on the option look. Feet go out from under him, but there was a swarm of green jerseys in front that time of Eli Heidenreich. And a 3rd and long coming up.
And this was a focus for defensive coordinator Ryan Osborne. One of the keys he talked about, we've got to be better in open field tackling. And we've seen that show up to this first part of the game. Weathering the storm early, getting Navy behind the sticks. Another opportunity here on a 3rd and long to try and get your defense off the field.
Last time on 3rd down, Navy across the middle. They hit Umbarger. Lavatai in trouble, not able to escape. Dropped by Miguel Jackson, the junior from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania.
coverage was solid on the back end. Not really anywhere for Tai Lavatai to go with this ball. Trying to scramble out to the left in what we feel like is one of the best front fours in the entire American Conference, showing up early. Big sack from Miguel Jackson there.
That is right tackle Trey Cummings down after the play. It's going to be Charlotte football after a punt. One of the most interesting characters in all of college football. Grew up in the Baltimore area. Big fan of the Naval Academy. Successful career in high finance, working as a hedge fund manager. Got back into football. And doesn't just view this opportunity as a head coaching opportunity, but kind of a life mission. We'll talk more about Biff Poggi as we go throughout the show this afternoon. And yes, that is a T-shirt with the sleeves cut out and, make a little more room with the V-neck. Well, courtesy of the scissors.
I love that he had a pullover on before the game. And we asked him, he told Morgan Uber, she said something about, are we going to see the cutoff? He said, I can't see Coach Brian Newberry in this outfit. I want to look a little more presentable when we shake hands at the midfield line. I love that.
He is himself right now. Cool and comfortable on the sidelines, hoping that his quarterback, Trexler Ivy, will be that on the field as well at his first start. On the ground, good first down run for the 49ers. Let's take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Regions.
Well, Will Harbor, the captain in that defensive unit, that's the guy that this defensive staff said circles the troops. Only captain still healthy with Jacob Busick down. And the tight end spot, Colin Weber. This offense, its roots coming from that Michigan offense. You're going to see a lot of one tight end and two tight end sets, and it all starts with Colin Weber at the tight end spot.
Mike Miller, the offensive coordinator, told us yesterday they really want to try to get the tight ends more involved in this game. Low snap picked up by Trexler. Didn't mess up the timing, though, as that is a first down run on the carry that time. Shadrick Byrd gained a 13.
Giving your young quarterback a fresh set of downs, keeping it on the ground. That's exactly what you want early. Good job making Colin Ramos miss there in the hole, finishing that run with physical presence. And again, this is exactly what Charlotte needs to have. First and second down run game where you stay ahead of the sticks and pick up consistent first downs. Avoid those third and long situations.
Out to the 18-yard line after a punt that started Charlotte deep in their own territory, trying to get it to the tight end. That's Jake Clemens, the junior from Christiansburg, Virginia. He's got 5 catches on the year.
They had 2 tight ends in the pattern, had Colin Weber open into the boundary and then worked back to Jake Clemens. I thought Ivy had Colin Weber immediately, but those are going to be some of the growing pains that you work through with your young quarterback, trying to get him easy early down completions.
Second and 10. Solid run there for Byrd once again.
Charlotte without Jack Histera, their leading receiver on the outside, the transfer from Colorado. There's some guys in that wide receiver room that are going to have to step up. Jack Reynolds, Dwayne Thomas, the freshman, we've seen him early in this game. Jairus Mack, who's going to be the guy on the outside that they can lean on? Because as this game goes along, we know that Charlotte wants to be able to run the football, but they're going to have to be able to convert on some shot plays down the field as well.
Bunch set of receivers at the top of your screen, so 4 wideouts and 1 back in the backfield. Pressure coming, incomplete. That one was tipped away. Nice job in coverage that time by Luke Pierce.
Navy brings field pressure, which if you watch their game last week against North Texas, you know how much they love to bring that blitz. Bring it from the field, drop Luke Pierce, who's on the weak side, drop him into coverage. He got underneath the route from Colin Weber and ended up with the PBU.
Amin Hassan back to return the punt for Navy, calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 36-yard line. And that will take us to a timeout. Scoreless in Charlotte with 7:12 to go in the first quarter. Got their first win in conference play last week with the victory over North Texas, 27-24. Sam Glover is now in at right tackle. We saw the injury to Trey Cummings, who was banged up. They weren't sure he was going to go today. New quarterback in the game for Navy. That is Braxton Woodson, the freshman from Altamonte Springs, Florida, Lake Brantley High School. Brian Newberry told us that they wanted to play Braxton Woodson, but he wouldn't commit to when or how, but they wanted to get him in the game.
And they had talked about that last week against North Texas, but the rhythm and flow of the game just got away from them because Ty Lavatai was playing so well. We did expect to see him in early, and they talked about how Woodson is exactly the body type and style that they want moving forward.
All on the ground, and Woodson covers it up. So he had pressure up the middle that time from Yabi Oki Anoma. He's the best player on the defensive side for Charlotte. Snap a little off, but that may be some young quarterback stuff. You got to grab that one.
That's exactly right. And anytime you see somebody come in, either the center or the quarterback, that quarterback-center exchange, watch those snaps, watch false starts. Anytime you see your quarterback change, especially, those are your process you have to try and clean up.
Navy looking for its first third down conversion. They will not get it here. A completion, but no gain as Teska out of the backfield makes the grab. And it is a 3-and-out, and that's something that is very important for both of these teams trying to get off the field.
Well, it's similar styles, right? They do it in different ways. But for both of these teams, it's all about staying ahead of the sticks. These are not offenses that like to get in 5 wide, 11 personnel, 10 personnel, and throw the football around. They have to stay ahead of the sticks. If they don't do that, it makes third down really difficult.
Henry Rutledge fields this one at the 14. Out across the 20. And run out of bounds just shy of the 25-yard line.
With pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips. It's a game changer.
Welcome back to Charlotte. We're scoreless here in the first quarter between Navy and the 49ers. And for Navy head coach Brian Newberry, coming over from Kennesaw State, he had this theory. He wanted his team to get 3 takeaways in a game. Well, when he got the defensive coordinator job here at the Naval Academy, he morphed that into get 6 3-and-outs, 4th down stops, and takeaways also being incorporated into that. Now they have 1 3-and-out, so they're 1 of 6, and the odds are pretty good. If they get 6 guys in the last 5 years, they have an 80% winning percentage, and the past 2 games show it. South Florida, they had 5. North Texas, they got 6.
So the 1 3-and-out on that last possession so far today for Navy. This pass complete, but a loss. Out of the backfield.
Pass complete to number 10, Thomas Jr.
Evan Gibbons, that's a great job on the outside, shedding his blocker and making a play in the backfield. Charlotte right now trying to get the bubble screen action going just for easy, quick completions for Ivy. Not picking up anything right now. Seen the drop early from Jalen Jones. That one was just a great play by Evan Gibbons.
3rd down and 11.
And this is that pressure look Navy likes to show. Sometimes they will bring this or back out of it. We'll see what they bring here.
Tight end in motion, and Bird on the carry with the underneath handoff. He's going to gain about 9. Needed 11 for the first down. And a 4th down coming, and the punt team will come out for Charlotte. By the way, Shadrick Bird has gone over 30 yards in the game today. He is 4th now all time in Charlotte rushing history. He's got 1,300 career rushing yards. And a timeout taken by Charlotte. Taylor, it felt like they thought for a moment before just immediately sending the punt team out. This feels like one of those games where you're going to be careful taking that risk because it's going to be a low-scoring game, and you really don't want to give a short field.
I'm absolutely kicking this ball away if I'm Coach Poggi right now, because with what you've seen from your defense, the strength of your defense is the front 4. You're facing a Navy offense that wants to run the football. Navy hasn't given you any reason right now to expect that they're going to move the ball effectively in this game. This would be the opportunity that Navy would be looking for to try and create a short field with a stop here. Again, if I'm Charlotte, I'm kicking this ball away.
And if indeed Charlotte does kick the ball away, we think they're going to do that. Or not. A chance to get another of those 6 for Navy. 4th down stops, part of that equation to go along with 3 and outs and turnovers. Charlotte offense staying on the field. Trexler with the handoff, straight ahead, second effort. I don't think so. Let's see.
The line judge is right at the 34-yard line, which is the yard line that they needed. This looks like it's right on the 34.
It is a first down for the 49ers. A risk for Charlotte that pays off. They convert on 4th down and get a fresh set of downs. That's a gutsy call, but we're going to take another look.
The ruling on the field is that the runner reached the line to gain. Previous play is under further review.
And I don't know, Taylor, if there is a harder play to review than that.
Well, there's so many bodies. He goes over the top. It looked like originally he didn't make it. Then he comes back down. You mentioned the second effort. I think that's what picked up the first down. And I totally agree. I'm not sure that there's going to be anything that we see here that would allow you, even if he was short, to overturn this. Right there, from our vantage point, looked like he was short. And even when the line judge originally comes in, he's at the 33.5-yard line. Then he moves up to the 34. You also wonder, ball carrier Chadrick Bird is more on that left side, now right side of the pile. If you're on the offensive vantage point, and that's where that line judge from the field side, you wonder if that's what they were leaning on for their mark.
Okay, he's way short there, and then gets low, and then the pushing starts. That's Johnny King, the center, who kind of got behind him, and it was like he was shoving him into the pile.
But again, there's nothing here that would lead you to say he was short. If you, and again, it was ruled a first down on the field. This has to be conclusive. If it had been ruled short, I think the exact same thing, that call would stand as well. There's just too many bodies, too much going on in the interior. I don't see enough there for them to be able to overturn this.
And that goes back to my original point of why this type play is so hard to change.
I agree with you on the original surge when he goes over the top, that it looks like he's short. We see some extracurriculars on the outside there.
First down.
And stands is what you expected to hear there from Steven Anderson, our referee in the white cap today.
First down and 10, Charlotte from their own 34.
It looked like Dwayne Thomas and one of the midshipman players, I think it was 28. Is that Hassan that would have been on the field? Anyway, fortunately, no extra flags either. Trexler, Ivy fires it deep, and the pass is underthrown and incomplete. Trying that time to hook up with Jairus Mack.
And Jairus Mack wins on this route. It's just a vertical to the outside. Won't be able to tell from this look, but he's got a step on his defender, Deshaun Peel, in coverage. And you can see Mack clearly frustrated that that ball was underthrown. I thought Trexler Ivy just a little late getting it out of his hand.
Kennan in motion, handoff underneath. New tailback in the game is Teron Kelman. Not much there. You said a second ago you wanted to see a shot down the field to try to loosen things up a bit.
And Charlotte's going to have to convert on some of those at some point in this game. Because, again, you're seeing, especially on second down, bringing that tight end across, running zone into the interior. And Navy's had an answer for it to this point in the game. We sound like we're beating a dead horse here, but another 3rd and long early for Charlotte.
0 for 3 on 3rd down today. Running it on 3rd and long again. Out across the 40 to the 41 is going to bring up 4th and 3, and it begs the question, well, if you were willing to go for it on 4th down from your own 30, will you go for it from your own 40, even though it's 4th and longer?
I said last time that they should kick it, and they went for it on 4th and 1, so I'm not going to give my opinion this go around.
Something tells me you still think they should kick it, but Trexler Ivy and the offense stay on the field.
That's right. You got it right.
Ivy under center.
And this may be just to see if they can draw Navy off sides. Watch a hard count here.
And 2 players in motion and a flag comes in. So you were bringing Jairus Mack across the formation, and Dwayne Thomas Jr. moved on the other side. Can't do that.
5-yard penalty.
And they called it on Dwayne Thomas Jr., the freshman. If he had just gone forward with his motion and then gone back and gotten set, play can still move forward. But because he flinched like that, they get the call. Now we see Charlotte go ahead and elect to punt it away.
Amin Hassan back to return the punt from Grant Gagne, who has 4 straight games with a 50-yard or greater punt. Hassan returns it across the 25, dropped at the 27-yard line. Not exactly an offensive shootout here in the first quarter with 1:17 to play.
And I don't think we thought it would be. Both of these offenses, especially for Charlotte on the other side, trying to find an identity. Navy, their starter goes down. Ty Lavatai stepping in. We've also seen Braxton Woodson in the game early at quarterback for them as well. But credit both of these defensive units for bowing up, getting stops consistently, as we see Woodson in again at quarterback for Navy.
43-yard punt. No yards on the return. Tesco on the carry across the 30. And that's Navy offense as we have all come to know it over the last few decades. 4 yards on first down, line up and do it again.
And you got to get Tesca going. Also, Daba Fofana, 45 and 46. That's what makes this offense tick as we see Fofana checking the game.
That's Fofana lined up directly behind Braxton Woodson. They run the option to the left side. Tight pitch on the carry. That time Anton Hall Jr. And it will bring up 3rd down and short.
And on the other side, for Navy, you've seen how well your defense has lined up and performed against Charlotte. This, to me, is 4-down territory if you can get this to 4.5 yard or 4th and 1.
Navy 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far today. Still Fofana in the backfield. Velez in motion. The handoff is to Fofana straight ahead. And he is stacked up and may have lost a yard. They'll mark it right back at the line of scrimmage. That may have been one where Woodson would have been better served to pull it.
Well, Des Morgan and Miguel Jackson, 90 and 95 in the interior for Charlotte, absolutely taking away the dive back. We've seen we come back from break after this quarter if Navy keeps their offense on the field.
They've got 4th down and 2. Decision time for Brian Newberry when we come back. Scoreless after 1 in Charlotte.
Off the bench, and Jones is taking all the bullets, and I told him, just play like your coach. What are you doing? I mean, these are easy throws, and just, if it's too big for you, let me know. But he's got to step up.
How do you hope to see your offense establish some sort of rhythm?
It would be nice if he could throw the ball a little bit. But, we got to keep running, and our defense is playing unbelievable.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Handoff on 1st down and out across the 5 to about the 7-yard line. So a little bit more breathing room for Charlotte. Obviously strong words there from Biff Poggi. You're going to be a quarterback in the college football level. You got to have thick skin. You've been there before.
Yeah, I promise that is exactly what he said to his quarterback, because I got that speech once upon a time in my career. So that how he phrased that, I'm sure that is verbatim how he delivered that to Trexler Ivy. 1st down runs like that will help.
Little sidestep and a burst out across the 15-yard line. That's good for a 1st down. And the truth of the matter is Trexler Ivy off the bench has been really good this season. It's the left tackle, Stanley, who is slow getting up on the play.
Media timeout.
We've got a timeout on the field. We'll take it as well. First down for Charlotte when we come back.
How good does it feel when Threshold Decor welcomes more seasonal style for less? When you can save on Good and Gather groceries and all the fall flavors. And when quality ingredients bring more to the table. When you get low prices on the latest trends. When rewards come with quality and coziness. And when you're serving up taste they love at low prices. That's totally Target.
Florida man seen wrestling with 2 gators. I wonder if these Florida man things are really true.
After everything we've been through, ow! Go to sleep. It's my turn to drive.
The future is threatened by enemies often unseen.
Stay alert, Marine.
And unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
For my best skin, it's Olay. Because my skin needs more than a basic moisturizer. With Olay, I see it working day one, instantly hydrating my skin. In 1 month, skin looks up to 10 years younger. In one jar, Olay visibly smooths, evens tone, strengthens skin, and firms for a lifted look. I use Olay niacinamide every day for glowing, gorgeous skin. Or your money back. Your best skin yet. Olay.
At Bellegarde, outdoor living and hardscape design are all about bringing you moments like these. Create your space. Create your moments with Bellegarde Rooms.
Kendall Stanley is the injured offensive lineman for Charlotte on the field. They have brought a cart out to help him off. And also you saw the bag that usually contains the air cast. You see him there in the middle of your screen. And he gets rolled up on by a couple of different players. Goes down awkwardly, and well, you feel bad, so bad for Kendall Stanley as they are able to get him on the cart. Kind of braced that leg to limit movement, and his teammates coming out on the field to give him some encouragement as he goes off.
That's the worst part of the game. Obviously, we hope obviously won't see him the rest of this game. You hope that it's not as bad as you imagine it might be. You love to see his teammates rallying around him, and hopefully we see Kendall Stanley out of here again soon.
It's Mike Miller, the offensive coordinator, one of the last guys to lean in and say something to him before going back to the sideline. It's going to be a first down for Charlotte in a scoreless ball game. That's not really new, though, for this Charlotte team. They've been held scoreless in 5 of their 6 games in the first quarter this year. Only outlier there was 14 points against Maryland. Stanley can only hope for the best for him going forward. I think you said it perfectly. The worst part of the game. Kendall Stanley, the freshman, big kid from right here in Charlotte. Redshirted a year ago. 2-time All-Conference at Rocky River. Charlotte stays on the ground. And that's another solid run. And the 49ers try to get something going on the ground. That's Shadrick Byrd.
Bringing the tight end and the guard, Jakeem Grant, around a good kick-out block. And this is how you help your young quarterback struggling throwing the football right now. They were backed up inside their 5-yard line. 3 straight first downs running the football.
Byrd again. This time out across the 30. He's dropped at the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 5 on first down. By the way, in at left tackle now is Lucas Gramlich. Gramlich, an interesting story. Played football at UCLA. Was on the rugby squad and was in
the national team.
Yeah, yes. And was en route to a tournament outside the country with some practice and some stopover here in Charlotte. At the beginning of the summer, Biff Poggi in the dining hall saw him, chatted him up, found out that he used to play football. Screen pass here. And another first down as Colin Weber with his first catch of the game.
And now I come back with a shot play. You get Trexler Ivy an easy completion, roll out to the right, simple, easy throwback screen to Colin Weber, who we told you at the top was going to be important for this 49ers offense. Good job selling the block, throw your defender upfield, and then pick up the first down. But I would come back right now with something downfield for Trexler Ivy.
So when Gramlich got back from the overseas rugby tour, he joined the Charlotte football team and has turned into their starting left tackle. There's the play action, and there's a sack. Donald Berniard, and I guess that's the counter to what you're thinking. Maybe Navy defensively thinking the exact same thing.
Well, they brought the field pressure again. Will Harbor unblocked in the interior. Watch 54. No one touches him. You see that right side. They kick out. 79 Jasper Parks and the running back go with that first defender. Somebody has to be left over for Will Harbor, and the captain in the middle for this defense comes up with a big sack on first down.
That's his second consecutive game with the sack. He's now got 3.5. I was not trying to take credit. There's a bounce to the outside on the carry to Ron Kelman. And another injured Charlotte player. That is Ja'Kai Green. Another offensive lineman, number 50, limping off the field.
Jordan Daniels, redshirt junior, transfer from Akron. Expect to see him check in as Ja'Kai Green. You hate to see that, trying to walk off on his own power. Ends up having to go back. Still scoreless here in Charlotte.
Now out of the game for the Charlotte 49ers. Saw Kendall Stanley's injury a bit ago. He'd taken off with the cart. This time it was Ja'Kai Green. And so Jonathan Bass, who is a backup offensive lineman, has come in at right guard to replace Green. Charlotte's drive has been interrupted by 2 long injury timeouts, but it's the most productive offensive drive by either team so far today. In fact, if Charlotte can cross midfield, it'll be the first time that either offense has gotten into plus territory. Still hasn't happened. It's going to take at least another play.
Well, credit to Charlotte for this consistent run game on this drive. You hit the nail on the head. They also get Trexler Ivy that easy completion on the screen, backside to Colin Weber. Also still would try to find, where's Jairus Mack, Dwayne Thomas, try and find some sort of either pop pass, tunnel screen to the outside.
Jalen Jones, the wide receiver, quarterback turned wide receiver, is out to the far sideline, but back to the ground game. And what should be a first down on another run for Shadrick Byrd. Going to say just short of the line to gain. So third down and less than a yard.
And what you're seeing, Charlotte is leaning right on the interior of Navy's defensive line right now. This is happening right at the point of attack. They're leaning on Donald Berniard Jr. in the interior, the nose tackle, pushing him around a little bit, creating some space.
Trexler Ivy steps up, takes a shot down the field, incomplete. Trying to hook up with Dwayne Thomas Jr. Got the one-on-one on the outside, and in coverage to Sean Peel. He was step for step with Thomas.
Dwayne Thomas is a burner on the outside, trying to get him just a simple vertical ball. On the inside, Charlotte, Max protects this. Thought Trexler Ivy just needs to give his receiver an opportunity. Leave it on the outside shoulder. Instead, too far to the inside, and it falls incomplete.
Charlotte has not converted on third down in the game. They are 1 of 1 on fourth down. The offense is out right here. Trexler Ivy straight ahead on the quarterback sneak. There's a flag that comes in on the far side. So a couple of things to sort out. Where will the ball be spotted? Was it enough for a first down? And do you have a neutral zone penalty?
The first question is no. It'd be short, but it looks like this is going against Navy.
Prior to the offense number 4. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's still fourth down.
Wow. I saw the encroachment signal. That's my fault on the far side. Thought that would mean Navy on the other side. Very rarely do you see a receiver line up past the line of scrimmage, and that goes back to, that was number 4, Jalen Jones, who is not normally a receiver. They're trying to get him touches. Usually you see that outside receiver look to the line judge, make sure they're good on the ball. That must not have gone through that process, and instead they don't pick up the fourth down in the first down on fourth down, but I don't think they would have anyway. That QB sneak was short.
Jalen Jones started his college career at Jackson State and went to Bethune-Cookman and has come here, and he was the starter for the first 5 games of the season. Not productive enough in the passing game, and I love what he brings to the table in terms of offensive skill set. But there's a learning curve going to some of these other positions. Timeout on the field. We will take it as well. No score between Charlotte and Navy. Homecoming at Jerry Richardson Stadium. At noon Eastern on ESPN2, you got Memphis on the road in Birmingham to take on UAB. And later on Saturday afternoon, North Texas at Tulane. That's at 3:30 Eastern. Tulane coming off a big win on the road last night against the Memphis Tigers. Ryan Newberry watching on from the Navy sideline. He told us that they would like to get Braxton Woodson into the game. We've seen a lot of him, and that's because there's a rib injury with Tai Lavatai, and his return is questionable. Woodson on the option and the pitch. Should be enough for a first down.
And you've seen 2 back-to-back option plays into the boundary. I think you're going to see Navy go back to the basics with Braxton Woodson in the game. What does Navy do well? What is he most comfortable with? That probably means their base option package, some of the things that you saw less of with Blake Horvath and Tai Lavatai. Also, Xavier Arline, number 7. If something happens to Braxton Woodson, that's going to be the guy that would come in, and he's played quarterback for Navy as well.
And they were using him in pregame warm-ups today, throwing some balls. Ooh, not much there. Good penetration at the line of scrimmage.
Nakai Hill-Green, one of the captains, sheds his block, makes a big play happen. That's another guy put this week on the watch list for National Comeback Player of the Year after missing all of 2022. Solid play in the interior.
Had a career high 11 tackles last week against SMU. 2nd and 10 for the midshipmen. 4 tackles so far today for Green. That pass is incomplete. Dantes Fagan in coverage. Junior college transfer. He was at Independence Community College in Kansas. I mean, if you're an offensive, an enjoyer, a connoisseur of offense, an offensive aficionado, please turn your eyes away. Don't change the channel. Just don't look at those numbers. A combined 0 for 9 between these two teams on third down. Woodson with time now trying to make something happen with his feet. Out across the 25, a first down and more. Steps out after going across the 40-yard line. Braxton Woodson, a great move in the open field to pick up the first down.
And it's a good job recognizing when he sees opportunity to the left side, trying to keep his eyes downfield. Nothing's there, and watch this move right there on the Kai Hill Green. That's the play that you hope would spark your offense. Really the first explosive that we've seen from Navy to this point in the game.
It was Connor McMahon, the left tackle, who kind of got the block that sprung that and opened up a lane for Woodson. Straight toss this time, and that's Teska with not much room. He's not been able to get going on the ground today.
Teska
15 carries on 19 yards to start the game for Navy. That was prior to the 22-yard carry. Charlotte coming off an open date, and that's always a good thing when you play a service academy, because the option that they run, different style. Woodson hands it off on the jet sweep, and it was blown up in the backfield.
And that's the second time that they've handed that jet sweep onto the side of Okianoma. That to me looked like a pull, and I'm not sure if Braxton Woodson is even reading that. That is designed like a stretch zone read play, and you see that rush in, get upfield. As a quarterback, you're taught to pull that ball. Instead, leaves his back out to dry, and another big play from Okianoma, he's too good to give him opportunities like that.
4 tackles in the game for Okianoma. Third and long. Woodson incomplete behind the intended receiver. That time he was trying to get it to Eli Heidenreich out of the backfield. And punt time for Navy.
Heidenreich's got to be like, what do I got to do? Get a ball on target. Last week against North Texas, he had a couple on seams and post routes that he was open that were missed by Tai Lavatai. That time just a simple shallow cross that Braxton Woodson, settle your feet, put the ball out in front and get it on your guy so we can get the yards after catch.
So going back to what I said a second ago about time to prep for an option offense, that's important, but Ryan Osborne pretty familiar with triple option teams as well. He thought they had a good plan coming in for defending it.
Well, and it shows so far. I mean, it certainly helps that Tai Lavatai is not in this game. If you're Charlotte, with what we've heard to this point is a rib injury, they've done an excellent job of shutting down this Navy rushing attack at this point in the game.
Told you if you don't like offense, you're not in the right place. But if you like defense, boy, have we got a spot for you. Scoreless. Navy and Charlotte on this Saturday afternoon in 53 per game, or per punt.
One of the things that Charlotte did such a nice job of last week, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, they came off the bye, but against SMU, Jalen Jones running quarterback power. They had several big plays, and I wonder if this offense continues to stall, do we see Jalen Jones come back in the game to try and work some of that quarterback run game that was so effective against SMU?
Drexler's pass incomplete. Lake in coverage there, or Lane rather, Rayon Lane. He's averaging better than 1.5 passes defended per game.
Navy's just squatting down right now. They're not afraid at all of Charlotte's ability to throw the football past them. I think you're going to have to scheme something up that's designed. I loved the throwback screen earlier to Colin Weber. Nice, simple completions, but things that are schemed up where you're targeting one read. You can't ask Trexler Ivy right now to work through a full field or even a half field progression because it's just not there right now.
5th punt of the game from Grant Gagne. It's a wobbly spiral. Hassan out of bounds with reasonably good field position at the 37-yard line. ESPN Plus is your one-stop shop for exciting American all-access series such as Charlotte's football, Mining for Greatness, Coming next month, also be on the lookout for FAU basketball. Run it back. And ESPN Plus is your home for the American Fall Championships, highlighted by men's and women's soccer and cross country. Catch all the action right here on ESPN Plus. I know we got Navy's offense out on the field right now, but to your comment a second ago about Jalen Jones, the reason for making the change at quarterback was to get a guy in that they thought could push the ball down the field and kind of open some things up offensively. And they have not been able to get that going yet. Woodson on the keep and a suplex tackle. Stone Handy says, to the ground, good sir.
Handy does a nice job of playing both. Handy is the defender that Braxton Woodson is reading. Woodson pulls the ball. Got 11 standing right there. I thought maybe a little bit fortunate to not get called with the unnecessary roughness, pile driving the quarterback.
I'm not a big wrestling guy. Was suplex not the right description there?
I have no idea. And he does it
again. 2 in a row for Stone Handy. The junior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, started his career at Auburn, transferred to Indiana. Now here in Charlotte, making back-to-back big plays.
And this is a guy in warm-ups that stands out. They have him listed at 6'5", 240. I thought he was bigger than that in person. And an incredible job crashing down on the dive back. Daba Fofana, another 3rd and long.
Fofana out of the backfield, and the pass is incomplete. A little too hot that time, intended for Jaden Umbarger coming across the middle. But Taylor, again, even with that throw, that's a throw that if it's caught, it requires a run after the catch. They're not throwing anything even 10 yards deep in a route.
Well, my counter always to trying to get it a 3rd and 10 plus. We talk about throwing it past the sticks. The defense knows it's 3rd and long as well, so I don't mind the call where you try and get it to a guy with some yards after catch ability. My thing goes back to Braxton Woodson as a young quarterback. Take some off of that. That was a fastball to your receiver, Jaden Umbarger, who's a good player for Navy. But you got to take a little bit off that. Give him a catchable ball.
Riley Reifman a little bit shorter on the punt this time, and it takes a Charlotte bounce. 3:02 left in the first quarter. Neither team has been able to do much of anything offensively. How about the job by the defense from Charlotte, led by Ryan Osborne?
Well, he told us when we had our visit with them yesterday, from his background, he'd seen several different versions going back to as a Division III coach all the way through his time in college at Michigan, different stops where they had seen triple option teams, and he felt really comfortable, felt like they had a really good plan. I think the critical piece, they have one of the best front fours in the American Conference, and it's showing today.
Jalen Jones is in at quarterback, gives an option look and pitches it, but good pursuit on the tackle that time. Avon Gibbons. So Jalen Jones, who was the starter for the first 5 games of the season, back in. If Poggi said mentally tough, selfless. When he told him about the change at quarterback, he said, whatever I can do to help the team. Now you've got Jones lined up as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen, and Trexler Ivy back in at the quarterback spot.
And Will Harbor is a violent player in the interior from the linebacker spot. He comes downhill, and even if he doesn't make the tackle, he delivers a blow every single time. And I loved how the defensive staff raved about him. Watch him come right at you. Boom. Everybody else rallies to the football, cleans up the tackle, but he pops on tape. When you watch Navy on defense, he's everywhere and is really a violent player for them in the interior.
Trexler Ivy over the middle, complete, short of the first down. Ivy now 3 for 9 throwing the football in the ball game.
Give him a favorable spot. That ends up being a first down. Simple completion. Spot up, number 12, Gyrus Mack right over the ball. Pretty good timing. You hope that if you're the offensive coordinator, Mike Miller, that is the momentum play to get your offense going.
First third down conversion of the game for Charlotte. Now a big hole in the run game. That's Kelman on the carry. Teron Kelman, the redshirt freshman from Clinton, Maryland. Played at the high school where Biff Poggi once coached, St. Francis Academy.
He played well last week, too. Had 9 carries for almost 70 yards. I really thought he showed great lateral quickness, which you saw some of it right there as well.
Second time across midfield today. This pass is incomplete. That was behind the tight end, Colin Weber.
Right now, Navy's still getting consistent pressure on Trexler Ivy when he drops back. That time, Justin Reed, guy the defensive coordinator, P.J. Volker, described as a war daddy, getting after the quarterback. You saw a ton of that last week against North Texas, and he gets a shot on Trexler Ivy.
Feels like one of the greatest compliments of all time. You ever have somebody call you a war daddy?
Absolutely not.
Okay. You would have thought a compliment if somebody had decided that's how to describe you.
No doubt. I would have loved that. Nobody ever said that about me, though.
Ivy with time. Throws on the run. Incomplete. Had a receiver go down. And B.D. Williams Jr. got a hand on it as well.
It's going to drive you crazy when you go back and watch this tape if you're Charlotte. Dwayne Thomas running the in route. He breaks this at about 10 yards, and right out of his break, Trexler Ivy needs to put this ball on him. Instead, waits too long. They bail out of the pocket in the scramble drill, and he's still trying to target Dwayne Thomas. Lucky that ball wasn't intercepted.
3rd and 10. Weber in motion. And off. Big hit. Shedrick Bird on a carry.
We said it a minute ago about Will Harbor being violent, but you know, one of the things that stood out in our conversation with P.J. Volker, his best quote that I've heard all season.
I was going to lead you to this. This is great.
We aim to solve our problems with aggression. And I think that should be put on some sort of plaque in every defensive meeting room at Navy. We aim to solve our problems with aggression. Only in football can you say that.
But
maybe hockey.
But you said it happens at your house also, right?
Yeah, just with my 17-month-old, but he's not rewarded for it.
Speaking of at your house, happy birthday, Sarah McCard.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Hopefully our child is behaving.
10-second run out.
A runoff here.
Timeout. Navy. They're first. 30 seconds.
4th and 7 coming up. 41 seconds until the half.
So the question with Navy having 2 timeouts, I know they haven't really done much on offense at all, but if you're Charlotte, I don't think you want to give them the short field here. Try and take this into half. Still scoreless. It looks like we are going to see the punt unit come on the field, and I agree with this. I know you want to be aggressive, but the last thing that you want is to give Navy a short field and they capitalize and get points before half. That would be completely demoralizing in a game where your defense is really playing outstanding.
Are they going to fake it? They go from punt formation to hard count to maybe burning a timeout. Grant Gagne. Maybe they're just willing to take the penalty and move it back. Gagne may give it one more try with the hard count. Nobody buying what he's selling, and so a 5-yard penalty, which they were going to punt it anyway, so no big deal.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
How bad would you feel as a defender if you didn't fall for the hard count the first time or the crazy movement, and then you jump later?
You probably wouldn't be back in the game for most guys. It'd be interesting for Charlotte when they get into half what adjustments they make, because clearly struggling throwing the football, and you said it exactly right. Trexler Ivy got the start in this game because that's where they felt like he was a difference maker. We have not seen that. Do we see more Jalen Jones in the second half?
This punt is into the end zone, so a touchback. 31 seconds until halftime. Combined 161 yards of offense, 45 offensive yards for Navy in the first half, 116 for Charlotte.
Well, I think what's been telling for Navy on offense is they are trying to run the football into the strength of what Charlotte does best. Go back through the schedule for Charlotte to this point in the season. They led at Maryland early in that game, partly because they created a turnover, a pick six in that game. They really played well against Florida. Looks like we get some early movement.
Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
But it's a Charlotte defense that's really played well throughout the season. I thought SMU really was one of the only real poor performances that we've seen from them. And man, what a first half from this 49ers defensive line, especially against Navy.
At the half, you'll see some of the top plays of the week from the American, along with the AAC's best and stats from the first half. Morgan Uber will carry you through halftime. Braxton Woodson gets to the outside. I tell you, being down on the field before the game, clearly there's a long way to go in terms of his development, but he 100% looks the part.
Yeah, he's impressive, and that's exactly what this staff said. They told us point blank, Braxton Woodson, that is the type of athlete that we want at quarterback moving forward, which is a lot different than you saw for years and years at Navy, where it was a smaller build running just truly the option.
In terms of a quarterback that can do both, I mean, you think about Navy quarterbacks through the years, and very few have been as good as Keenan Reynolds, who has the all-time touchdown record for a quarterback on the ground with 88 rushing touchdowns. But I think people forget that he was a pretty good passer as well. He threw for 4,000 yards in his career.
An unbelievable player. You would love to find somebody half as athletic as what he was able to do for Navy.
Into the air and complete. Dante Balfour went way up and nearly came down with an interception. The North Carolina transfer.
Balfour playing really between both receivers. Just a simple smash concept into the boundary. And Braxton's fortunate he didn't throw an interception there to Balfour, who bailed underneath the corner route. I also don't love the decision there in the play calling. If I'm Navy, I also just take this into half. They're very fortunate there wasn't some sort of turnover situation there.
Henry Rutledge will stand at his own 30-yard line awaiting the punt from Riley Reithman. This is the 12th combined punt of the half. Rutledge will let this one hit. It takes a Navy roll as we go inside 10 seconds all the way down to the 20-yard line. Great atmosphere, great crowd today at Jerry Richardson Stadium. It was a sellout. Tickets were hot on the secondary market. Stadium that seats a little more than 15,000. This is a beautiful campus. University of North Carolina at Charlotte.
It really was. I mean, the drive in, really impressive today. The crowd, the atmosphere, the tailgating scene, families weekend. You got people all around. Obviously want to see an improved offensive side when they come back in the second half from this offense from Charlotte.
49ers crowd has not had a lot to cheer about, but neither has the Navy contingent. Scoreless. Navy will get the ball to start the second half. Whew, that was tough offensively. Two defenses that performed at a really high level. Halftime. We'll be back after this.
With the Home Depot app, the tools to keep the job moving are always in reach. Need specialized equipment? Tool, truck, and equipment rentals are just a tap away.
Center, but there's also a chance we could see Xavier Arline in this one, who took reps at quarterback this week. And as far as an injury update from Charlotte, Kendall Stanley is out with a left leg injury. Right guard Ja'Kai Green is questionable to return with a left lower body injury, guys.
All right, Morgan, thanks a lot. Navy football to start this second half, and they go with an option to the right side. Brandon Chapman was the pitchback. So a lot to unpack there from Morgan. So Blake Horvath is out for the foreseeable future with the broken thumb suffered in the game last week against North Texas, a win 27-24 for the Naval Academy. And so Ty Lavatai back into the starting role today. He has a rib injury, will not return today. So it's Braxton Woodson and potentially kind of the emergency quarterback in Xavier Arline.
Will Jackson banged up on that one. He's jogging off on his own power, but looked a little hobbled. Good first down coming out of half. Back-to-back options into the boundary. You wonder if they flip that at any point, try and work with more space and go to the field side, but they've really favored that boundary anytime they run option right now with Braxton Woodson.
First and 10 from the 35. Straight ahead, and not a whole lot there for Alex Teska. Teska has been kind of the bell cow in the running game, but today, not a whole lot for him. 5 carries for just 11 yards.
Tried to target 22 Eli Heidenreich a couple times, was open on a shallow cross that they missed. He's lined up to the field side, split off. I wonder if they try and target him early in this third quarter.
Teska goes out wide to the left. Pressure up the middle, blown up by Nikai Hill-Green. Second sack of the season for Hill-Green. Untouched.
And they're working to that side of Heidenreich. But Nikai Hill-Green, just like you said, Richard, untouched. That's as easy a sack as you're going to see for the captain in the middle for the 49ers.
Third and long, third down, 14 to go. Got to take it across the 45-yard line for a first down for Navy. Woodson, complete, and a big play. You wanted a big play, you got one. Eli Heidenreich all the way to the end zone for a Navy touchdown. First points of the game.
They've been trying for 6 quarters now, going all the way back to North Texas to try and get Heidenreich the ball in space. Missed on it a couple times last week, missed early in this game. Finally connect the seam route. Really nice throw there from Braxton Woodson. The timing was right. And then credit to Heidenreich. The rest of that was speed to get to the end zone, and we finally see some offense shine through in this game.
Heidenreich, a second-generation midshipman. His grandfather served in the Navy. Had 1,300 yards as a receiver in high school in his senior season. Second touchdown catch of the year. Heidenreich making guys miss and taking it to the house. Navy in front.
Get ready for hosting.
9-yard touchdown play. Braxton Woodson to Eli Heidenreich. Excuse me, Heidenreich. Kickoff. Returnable. Shadrick Byrd. And he's not going to make it even to the 20-yard line. So perhaps would have been better off taking the fair catch. This is Grant Chestnut on the play call. Finally, after 30 minutes and change of football, something to cheer about.
On a 3rd and 14. Finally connect.
Look at that. 47 yards on the first 27 plays of the game. Then 5 plays on that last drive. 75 yards resulting in a touchdown. Can Charlotte answer? Trexler Ivy back out at quarterback to start this second half. He's got Teron Kelman in the backfield with him, and the handoff is to Kelman. Kelman fights forward for about 4 on first down. Will Harbor again on the stop. Will Harbor had 6 tackles for loss coming into this game. It's tied for 5th in the American. Keeping it on the ground. 3rd down coming up for Charlotte.
Trying to set up more of those 3rd and manageables. You're going to have consistent 1st down and 2nd down run game. Like to see some sort of wrinkle off of that. We've seen a lot of the interior run game go back to the 2nd quarter. That's really where we saw Charlotte run the football about as best as we've seen in this game, where they move out past midfield. What can they dial up here on a 3rd and short, try and avoid a 3-and-out coming out of half?
Charlotte 1 of 8 on 3rd down in the game. They move the pocket this time with Trexler. Ivy throwing on the run, and he throws an interception. It's picked off by Rayon Lane. That is his 3rd interception of the season, making his 23rd straight start today. Lane, the junior from Jessup, Maryland, and played at Gilman High School, which was the alma mater of Bitpoji.
It's a good job by Rayon Lane triggering to the football, but this has to come out of Ivy's hands sooner. The defense is tracking with you. He's trying to hit that comeback to the outside receiver. That's late from your quarterback, but credit to Rayon Lane making a play. A guy that this defense described as extremely athletic. You saw it show up right there. Navy with some momentum now. Great field position to start this drive.
Back to the air, and this one is incomplete. In the direction that time. Well, Navy fortunate not to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty there. You had Amin Hassan, who kind of took a swipe at the defender at the end of the play.
I thought the same thing. Like DeAndre Hollins, the North Carolina transfer, in coverage. It's a little nudge there, and then watch the swipe to the face. I think you're exactly right. Navy fortunate there wasn't flag thrown there on Hassan.
Chapman getting to the outside. Another big play for the Navy offense. We do have a flag way back at the 38-yard line. This one may be coming back.
Down.
Jaden Umbarger called with the hold on that right side. He gets that right hand pulled across, pulling down DeAndre Hollins. And negates a huge play for the midshipmen. Saw them convert that 3rd and 14 a minute ago for the long touchdown to Heidenreich. Can they get this back to a 3rd and manageable?
2nd down and 20. Puts it back to the air, underneath, complete out to the 40-yard line. Kamari Williams on the reception, the senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
And there's that shallow cross again that Navy tried to run in the first half. That time a more catchable ball thrown by Braxton Woodson. That's something as a quarterback, you just have to have a little finesse with that throw. You cannot throw that like a fastball when your guy's only 6 or 7 yards away from you. Good touch on that one to get this back. Not 3rd and manageable, but at least have an opportunity here.
2 of 6 on 3rd and 9 or more. Woodson able to get away from the initial pressure. Now he'll throw it and throw it away, incomplete. Fourth down coming up for Navy. And the punting unit will come onto the field to try and pin Charlotte deep.
Good job by Charlotte's defense, bailing out their quarterback coming off that turnover. Get the ball back, in that penalty a moment ago from Umbarger stalls this drive.
Reithman is averaging 50.2 today. Does not want to hit this one that far. Trying to get the backspin, and he does. I think he hit a little lob wedge there at the 6 and spun it back to the 10. 7-0. Navy with the lead. Charlotte football when we come back. And very little offense. 139 total yards for Navy, 120 for Charlotte. Can the 49ers get something going offensively? Made a change at starting quarterback today. Jalen Jones had been the starter. They instead go with Trexler Ivy. And you know, the ironic thing, Taylor, is that Trexler Ivy had been the spark for the offense a couple of times this season, coming off the bench and just letting it fly. Against Georgia State, he had 7 pass plays of more than 15 yards. 3 of those went for more than 30 yards, but he's looked very tentative throwing the football today.
That's part of what Coach Poggi was nervous about, was a lot of the production for Ivy has come in late game scenarios where they weren't facing the starters and they weren't pinning their ears back and blitzing the quarterback in the way that they were with Jalen Jones. Is minimal run again, and now you're back to a 3rd and long, which has been the situation. Charlotte has had the emphasis all week on have to get ahead of the sticks. 130th in FBS on 3rd down at just 25%. That's even gone down since today with their 3rd down percentage. What can they scheme up? Try and create some momentum on the offensive side.
An average of 6.6 yards to go on 3rd down today. 1 for 9 in the game. Ivy taking a shot down the field. He's got a man, and that ball is incomplete, batted away. Good coverage down the field by Deshaun Peel, trying to get that one to Jairus Mack.
It's the 2nd time the ball's been underthrown on any sort of deep vertical shot to Jairus Mack on the outside on this one. And you can't see it here, but look, Jairus Mack has won on this route. That ball's got to be out sooner. As you see, he's got to work back. The thing that also would frustrate me if I'm a Charlotte fan, why do you have play action on 3rd and 11? Excuse me, 3rd and 9. The defense is not triggering on any sort of play action. That's just time wasted where your quarterback needs to be in his process to then get the ball out.
Grant Gagne. It's a low liner. That one is fielded by Hassan. Hassan gets across midfield, still on his feet. Now trying to make something happen. He gets a block. Boy, really good job avoiding a block in the back. As number 13 for Navy that time, it was Durhart who was able to get in front of the would-be tackler. Coming up next Saturday, Rice and Tulsa. Well, that's actually on Thursday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Next week's games for the American. Memphis and UAB next Saturday. Kicks at noon Eastern on ESPN2. Then North Texas at Tulane. 3:30 Eastern, game on ESPN2 and all streaming on the ESPN app. Richard Cross, Taylor McHargue, Morgan Uber with you from Jerry Richardson Stadium on a beautiful Saturday. Sun has popped out on homecoming Saturday for Charlotte. The 49ers defense has done a phenomenal job defending the option when they're trying to get it to the outside. And their defensive coordinator, Ryan Osborne, told us they had to set the edges today.
Well, and they're forcing Braxton Woodson in this offense to run sideline to sideline. And that's how you attack option. You win at the point of attack with the fullback, and then you stretch option to the sideline. And anytime an option attack gets going downhill, that's when it becomes most potent.
2nd and 12. Braxton Woodson to throw, and that is caught for a minimal gain on the far sideline.
It's also been interesting that Navy's really focused the option game to the right side for Braxton Woodson. They are not asking him to pitch the ball with the left hand right now.
Yeah, Biff Poggi, head coach for Charlotte, sitting next to his quarterback, Trexler Ivy.
It's like they're going through the call sheet trying to figure out what situations and what calls does Ivy like to get some sort of momentum going. Still just a 1-score game. We get looks like a false start here. It'll back Navy up again.
False start. 65. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
We heard from Biff Poggi earlier in this game, and he had fairly pointed words about his quarterback and quarterback play. He may kind of be doing the good cop, bad cop thing himself and trying to encourage his quarterback at this time.
I do wonder, do we see more of Jalen Jones in the fourth quarter? They try and get any sort of that quarterback run game that we saw so much of last week that was successful.
2 of 10 on third down. Woodson, pressure, gets to the outside, throws on the run and completes it. Short of the first down. On the catch that time, Daba Fofana.
And this defense stands up. Again, it's really just been the one play, that seam route for the 69-yard touchdown. In a game like this where neither offense really performing very well, it's going to come down to just a handful of plays that decides this game. If you have that, take that one play away for the touchdown, Charlotte's played an unbelievable game to this point.
Another good punt by Reithman. And it scoots through the legs of 2 Navy players. They were trying to set up a fence at the goal line, but that ball hit and scooted. And that's a break for Charlotte. Instead of being inside the 1, they will begin this drive from the 20. We got a timeout on the field. Navy trying to... Charlotte football, first down run from the 20-yard line. Only points in the game, a 69-yard touchdown pass. So the midshipmen in attendance today. The Navy celebrated a birthday yesterday. 248 years old. Ivy sets up a screen, complete to his tight end. Short gain, Colin Weber.
A good job by this Navy defense rallying to the football. Evan Gibbons, we've called his name a couple times today. This really was set up pretty well, an opportunity. Thought maybe here for Colin Weber to get loose. Second time they've gone to him in the screen game. Really a nice play by Evan Gibbons beating the block. Setting up a third medium.
Charlotte with 9 offensive possessions today. They punted 7 times, thrown an interception, and taken a knee to go into the halftime locker room. Third down here, down the field, lot of contact, no flag. Oh, there it comes in at the end from a trailing official on the play. That may be frustrating for the Navy sideline, but looked like Duhart had a big handful of jersey as they were working down the sideline.
I agree. I think it's just interesting where this call came from, because the back judge that has the better angle, it's
pass interference. It's fourth down.
And they wave it off. It looked like there was a clear hold there. He's got that left.
How do you pick that up?
Again, I think that goes back to where was it called from, because that looked like it was from the line judge that was behind the play.
Right.
Interesting that they picked that up. We're about to get a career high 8th punt from Grant Gagne. Add that to the tally of the get 6 for this Navy defense. I believe that gets that unit to 4 for the night.
3 3-and-outs and a turnover forced. The 8th punt of the day from Gagne is a good one. Hassan, who has a punt return for a touchdown this season, does a nice job there. Goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. ESPN Plus is your one-stop shop for exciting American All-Access series such as Charlotte football mining for greatness. And then coming next month, this basketball season is almost here. Be on the lookout for FAU basketball. Run it back. What a story that was a season ago. Finally, ESPN Plus, your home for the American Fall Championships, highlighted by men's and women's soccer and cross country. Catch all the action here on ESPN Plus. Drive starts from the 41. We've gone from gray and overcast with rain this morning to beautiful blue skies and sunshine here at Jerry Richardson Stadium. And another good job extending that option play all the way to the sideline and stopping Navy for a loss on first down.
Well, it's just defended so well. I mean, you have Marcus Robitaille, and then you've also got Dantes Fagan. You got two defenders on the outside right there. Anytime you run the option, you're trying to get to that pitch defender, kick it to the back, and anytime it's 2 for 2, the defense is 1.
Dropped. Trying that time to get it to Kamari Williams. He's had a couple of catches in this second half. Couldn't haul that one in. So 3rd and long for Navy with 3:11 to go in this 3rd quarter.
I'd say if you're Charlotte, this is exactly where you want Navy to be, but the biggest play of the game came on a 3rd and 14.
That's Navy's 2 third-down conversions today.
Well, they've had 6 3-and-outs of their own to this point in the game. This would be the 7th.
Woodson goes down. Good pressure from the Charlotte front. Demetrius Knight. His defensive coordinator, Ryan Osborne, said he works his tail off.
Big time pressure here. Nowhere to go with the football. Trying to target Eli Heidenreich again over the middle of the field. Just not nearly enough time. As Charlotte defense, stop me if you've heard this before, defense stands on their heads again, forcing a 3-and-out from Navy, getting the ball back.
Was it Okianoma that was the first to get there? Recorded the sack. Certainly wouldn't be surprising. He has been all over the place. That's a 9th punt of the game for Reithman, also a career high. Pretty decent field position here for Charlotte, starting at their own 30. Twice in the game today, maybe 3 times that Charlotte has crossed midfield.
Hasn't been a lot. I do know that. There's a commitment here to Trexler Ivy. It looks like he's going to lead this offense out on the field again. It's been a clear mandate trying to run the football on 1st and 2nd down. But I wonder at what point in a 1-score game still does Mike Miller, the offensive coordinator, go to a designed shot play, something that you've worked on this week, whether that's a trick play or a downfield shot play that you feel good about. Has to be something in the bag that stretches the ball vertically.
Best starting field position of the game for Charlotte here at their own 30-yard line. Not much on first down, though.
Well, because, again, it's interesting. Both of these defenses playing very similar styles because they have no fear in either offense throwing the football over the top. You've got Navy's showing a lot of single high right now and a 2-high shell right now. These safeties are walking down. They're getting to 6-7 yards deep. A lot of bodies close to the line of scrimmage.
Play action. Trexler Ivy down the middle of the field trying to hook up, but it's batted away in coverage by Andrew Duhart. Sean Brown. I feel like it's a broken record. Say there are 3 times they've gone down the field, and all 3 of them have been underthrown.
Yeah, just late. And anytime you're throwing the deep ball, if you know where you're going at that first read, the ball's going to come out right now. And it's a 3-step drop, but he's taking that extra hitch, especially on that last play. Post routes also, you want to try and pull your receiver more towards the goalpost. Don't let that ball fade. But you nailed it, Richard. That's the 3rd deep ball that's been underthrown. And again, 3rd and long for the 49ers.
3rd and 10. Flag comes in and a delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
So instead of 3rd and 10, now 3rd and 15 for this 49ers offense. That has struggled mightily on this now gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Trexler Ivy today 3 of 13 for 11 yards with 1 interception. And it's a give on 3rd and 15, and there's nothing there. And some frustration from the 49ers fans in attendance, and understandably so.
Well, look, I think for Charlotte to win this game, one of two things has to happen. They either need to create a takeaway in special teams or on the defensive side, or they need to have a change at quarterback and try to give Jalen Jones an opportunity to run the football, because it's clear they are not effective right now with Trexler Ivy in the game, and it's still a one-score game.
Driving spiral sends Hassan back to the 20-yard line, and his feet went out from under him. He was going to have some room on that return because it was such a good kick, maybe even out kicking the coverage. But instead, from the 19, after a 53-yard punt from Grant Gagne.
First down and 10 for Navy from the 19.
The winner of this game is going to say, I don't care how it looked. We got a conference win. First ever home American Conference game for Charlotte. Navy won last week. Woodson gets to the outside and shows you a burst. He shows you a big burst, but stepped out of bounds back at the 41-yard line.
Finally saw Braxton Woodson get on the edge. You see those long strides. This almost, he doesn't step out. This may go the distance. See, where is it that he steps out? Looks like he's in there. Still think he's in there. That one's out.
That's where he's out.
Good call by this crew. But finally, really to this point in the game, Charlotte defending the options, done a nice job keeping contained. That's the first one where they lost contain, and Braxton Woodson made him pay for it.
Just one back in the backfield. Little play action over the middle, incomplete.
There's something Navy is famous for, especially in games where they've just been wearing you down running the football. How often do we see Navy raise up on a play just like that, throw the football, and somebody's running wide open? To this point in the game, Charlotte has done a really nice job on the times when Navy has gone back to throw the football, with the one exception of the seam route to Heidenreich that went the distance.
And again, just the one big play. Navy has been held to 71 yards on the ground today by this Charlotte defense. And you can subtract one from that. So 70 yards rushing. And this for an offense that came into the game averaging 248 per game. Clearly a big part of that rushing offense, though, for Navy is Blake Horvath, who they are without for what appears as if it's going to be an extended period of time with a broken thumb.
And Ty Lavatai now going to have to figure it out with Braxton Woodson. Big fourth quarter coming, still just a one-score game. Can Charlotte find any sort of momentum on the offensive side?
Those new tiles are falling right into place until you run out of, what are those called again?
Have it all, except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips, it's a game changer.
Third down for Navy. Bad snap. They're going the wrong direction in what has been a defensive slugfest on this Saturday afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina. Morgan Uber on the sidelines. I'm Richard Cross. Taylor McHargue in the booth as our analyst. We're glad to be spending this Saturday afternoon with you. Charlotte about to get the football back, trailing 7-0. Got a third quarter touchdown pass. Braxton Woodson with 69 yards. Heidenreich on the reception. Charlotte looking for something in terms of a punt return. Darius Mack From the 26, the offense goes back to work for Charlotte. Has had some success on the ground, 115 yards rushing. Biff Poggi in his first year as the head coach. Had a great visit with Coach Poggi yesterday. He knew this year was going to be a challenge. They brought 70 new players in. So much has been made about Colorado and the turnover on their roster. Well, it's been a massive roster turnover here at Charlotte in year one as well. Jim Harbaugh credits Biff Poggi with some of the turnaround for the offense at University of Michigan. Biff Poggi, extremely successful in the financial community, working as a hedge fund manager and running a hedge fund. And not a guy that has to be coaching. He's not doing it so he can make a house note payment every month, but kind of sees this as a mission to work with young people and try to give back some of what he was given when he was young and kind of misguided. Jalen Jones at the quarterback spot, trying to get something going on the ground.
Number 4, Jalen Jones on the quarterback keeper.
Biff Poggi told us this yesterday. When I get discouraged, I go through the roster and think about where all these guys were last year. My focus is setting these young men up for life, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, and there's so much good that he's doing in this program right now. The financial literacy program, internships that these kids are set up with right now. First year head coach, we see plenty of programs around the country with their first year head coach where they struggle. Offensive side clearly is struggling right now.
Movement all over the place. Timeout taken by Charlotte. With the break on the field, we'll take one as well. Navy in front, 7-0. 3rd and 11 for Charlotte when we come back.
He leads Charlotte 7-0 here in the fourth quarter. We were just talking about Charlotte head coach Biff Poggi and the great things he's doing to set his young men up for success in life after football. One of those being a financial literacy program. He has all of his freshmen and sophomore take a course where he teaches them as simple things like budgeting, investing, compounding returns, how all that adds up.
A big play for the Charlotte offense. Jairus Mack on the catch. Morgan, they were happy to see some of that happening. Something good on the field in addition to what's good happening off the field.
Finally, a shot play hit over the middle to Jairus Mack. Guy that they've targeted a couple times, just been overthrows from Chexler Ivy. Finally connect on one there.
Good patience on the run from Shadrick Byrd. Morgan, any other thoughts on the financial literacy?
I think the best story he told us yesterday, Yabi Okianoma, one player who said coach is really, he's getting the most out of it. Coach Poggi admitted in our meetings he's not always watching film on that big TV. He had Bloomsburg TV on, and Oki comes in asking, Coach, what's that? And Oki ends up going home watching some of Bloomsburg TV himself. He's bought in, and it's just really cool to see that he's so much more than just football, guys, and really all about these life lessons, setting these young men up for life after football.
Pressure, and Ivy goes down. I mean, a jailbreak. Peel was there, Deshaun Peel, and also David Gibbons.
Justin Reed getting home as well, 94. Watch on the right side of your screen, right up the middle. Unblocked, and it was a jailbreak. Justin Reed is an interesting guy. They feel like they have really found something. He was in the backup spot behind Jacob Busick, who went down, the captain that they've lost for the rest of the season. They said, man, for as much as we miss Jacob Busick, it's been amazing to see how well Justin Reed has played. He had to step up. And when we spoke with him, he said, look, my off time is dedicated to football. He loves the game. They've really found something with 94.
Ivy hit as he tries to throw. Ball loose. If it's a fumble, it's Navy ball. Midshipmen recover, and they create the turnover That's the second turnover of the game, and again, it was set up by pressure, and Reed once again in the middle of the play.
Ivy's arm was going forward. What we're going to look at here, does he maintain possession as that arm's going forward? And is this an incomplete pass? If he loses possession even while that arm's coming forward, that's where it would be the fumble. Starts to separate right here and start that throwing motion right there. There's contact. That's a fumble to me. That ball is coming out of his hand. He's lost possession of it as that arm starts to go forward. I think this call will probably stand.
It's almost like his arm kind of got pinned there, and he never had a chance to go with that forward motion.
By Navy. The previous play is under further review.
So the video replay team will take another look. We'll take a break while they do.
Snap infraction. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
That's just like we talked about earlier. Your young quarterback, Braxton Woodson, in this game. We've seen some drop snaps, seen some false starts, miscommunication there between Brent Self and Braxton. For next week, it is a big game coming up for Navy as they play host to Air Force. First round of the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy. If Braxton is going to be the guy, if Ty Lavatai can't go, those will be the little things they'll have to get cleaned up during the week before they face the Falcons from Air Force. That's going to be such a good game.
Yet Navy fourth in the country in rushing yards per game at a little over 248 coming into this one. And then the Air Force Academy up over 300. This is going to help the rushing yards total. It's taken all day long, but Alex Teska to the house for the midshipman.
What they tell us about Alex Teska, get him the ball in open space. He created the open space on that play. We waited all day really to see him bust loose. And that time, Charlotte not sound in the interior. Coming right at you. Nice, simple fullback dive on the option. The rest of that is just speed from Alex Teska. That'll be one of the easier touchdowns he ever has.
Kind of kept his legs going the entire time as he was bouncing it to the outside. And then raced his way to the end zone for the score. A 62-yard rushing touchdown for Alex Teska. And now Navy with a huge lead, up 14-0.
Get ready for host
sale, and free shipping is in effect. Hurry, this offer won't last. That's drleafac.com.
The holidays are coming to the Home Depot with free delivery on over 2 million items. So let the prepping begin by dreaming a little bigger and lighting up your home with a lot more joy this season. Get holiday ready at the Home Depot.
Look for an ATM from our bank, or we'll have to pay a small fortune in fees.
BMO has more fee-free ATMs than the 2 largest U.S. banks combined.
Wow, saving money and more convenient.
Can I play a game on your tablet?
Sorry, no games. But we do have financial tools.
Financial tools?
14-0. 2 big plays in this game. A 69-yard touchdown pass and a 62-yard touchdown run, the most recent from Alex Teska to give the midshipmen the 2-score lead over Charlotte. Homecoming Saturday. 11 minutes to play. With the way the Navy defense has played today, coupled with the struggles that Charlotte has had offensively, 14 feels like a tall hill to climb. Short kick, fair catch called for, and Charlotte will go to work from their own 25. Charlotte has not been shut out in a game since 2017 when they lost 7-0 to Old Dominion. So a little bit of life from the Charlotte offense on the last drive with the big completion over the middle. That was before the hit on Ivy and the turnover. Ivy steps up, takes a shot. He's got an open man, and Charlotte's got a big play offensively. Dwayne Thomas Jr. on the reception.
Tried to hit this play earlier in the game. This is one of the ones Trexler Ivy underthrew this time. Good job fitting that ball in before Beatty Williams Jr. can get there in coverage. Huge play on first down to finally create some momentum for Charlotte.
Taylor, what's different on the last 2 throws for Trexler Ivy?
He looks more comfortable as we see Jalen Jones in at quarterback, but the last 2 throws he's been on time. I think that's been the big key. I think we're going to get a false start here.
You had Kevin Williams, a left guard, pulling on that play. What you did not have was everybody on the same page.
False start. Offense number 52. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
I think it goes back to timing for Trexler Ivy. The throws that he's converted on, the last 2 especially, been on time, accurate obviously, but earlier in the game, I think about the message from his head coach, Biff Poggi, where he's getting onto his quarterback. And a lot of that came down to me, he looked a little nervous. The timing wasn't great. He settled in on those last 2 throws to see if they can continue that.
Jones stays at quarterback. He's trying to get it to the outside, and he does. To the 25, but a good open field tackle there by Deshaun Peel to limit the game to about 5.
If Deshaun Peel doesn't come up and make this tackle, this has a chance to go to the house. The junior from Norfolk, Virginia. Great job triggering. Watch this open field tackle. May not be showing it to you.
We promise you he made a great play at the end of that.
Trust us when we tell you it was a solid open field tackle.
Second and 11. Ivy back in toward the end zone. Flag comes in. You're going to have holding there as Colin Ramos. He just grabbed the jersey of big number 81, Jake Clemens.
Pass interference. Defense number 44. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Let's take a look here and see if this ball was tipped. The Navy sideline going crazy saying this ball might have been tipped. Now we're having a conversation with this officiating crew. Take another look. That ball may have been tipped because it came out wobbly from his hand. I couldn't tell if the arm got hit. That ball looks tipped.
Holding. Defense. Number 44. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So the call was holding as opposed to pass interference.
Which, if the call is holding before the quarterback releases the football, then the call stands either way. If it's pass interference, then it wouldn't matter. Excuse me, then it would matter. But because it was holding, it doesn't matter.
Because contact allowed after a ball has been tipped down the field.
That's
but if the hold happens before it is let go. First time that either team has been in the red zone today. Out to the outside and a hurdle. Teron Kelman. Closing in on 9 minutes to play. Navy 14, Charlotte nothing. The 2 scores, big plays for Navy.
So the field condenses now. We get into the red zone. Quarterback Trexler Ivy, they found some momentum recently, but that's been on shot plays down the field. Can he complete the intermediate, underneath type throws? Now that this field is condensed, you've got bodies still really close to the line of scrimmage as Navy shows pressure.
Pressure coming from the outside. It's picked up initially toward the corner of the end zone, but overthrown trying to get it to Dwayne Thomas.
Had Dwayne Thomas on the corner route. Ideally, you want this ball to have a little more air and drop it in the bucket in that back corner of the end zone. This ball comes out a little flat. He's throwing that to a spot almost touchdown in the corner of the end zone for the freshman, Dwayne Thomas. We saw him a moment ago on that over route. Big completion on first down. I think this goes without saying, but 4-down territory here.
Third down for Charlotte. 2 of 14 today on third down. Ivy looking to the right, completes it to the tight end. May be short of the first down, but they certainly made it manageable. Jake Clemens. And a good open field tackle once again.
Credit Jake Clemens for making this tackle and holding, Andrew Duhart on the other side to hold Jake Clemens from getting this first down. Duhart on the other side, 5'10", 185, bringing down the 6'6", 260 tight end. Jake Clemens to force fourth down here.
4th and 2. Charlotte has gone for it successfully once on 4th down today. What do they draw up? Ivy with time. That ball is incomplete. Looked like he was trying to force it to Dwayne Thomas. There were 2 white jerseys just kind of draped over his shoulders. And the Navy defense comes up with a stop. 7:38 to go. Navy 14, Charlotte nothing.
Go back to Charlotte, Trexler, Ivy. We go back to that 4th down play. This is all about your quarterback locking onto a target. Dwayne Thomas Jr. is who he's trying to throw this to, but look at 81 in the back of the end zone by himself. Jake Clemens, clearly where they should have gone with the ball there. A missed opportunity for Charlotte to come away with points.
And so now it's the Navy offense with a 14-point lead and the clock as its friend. And if you think about some traditional Navy teams, this is an area where they would excel. Just 3 yards, line up, 3 yards, do it again, over and over and over. They haven't been able to sustain a long drive today. It's been a couple of big plays for Navy, and you thought that was maybe a key for this Navy offense if they were going to have success today.
Well, but credit to Charlotte again for tackling well in space, taking away the dive back for the most part. But Richard, you said it. Leaning forward, pick up another first down. Looked like that was Anton Hall Jr.
Yeah.
Navy finally starting to wear down Charlotte some in the run game. We saw Alex Teska get loose for the touchdown on the drive previous. But for the most part in this game, Charlotte's front 4 has forced Braxton Woodson to run sideline to sideline. It's not allowed him to really get his shoulder pads going downhill. We've also seen 2 for 2 on the outside where the pitch defender is there and then plus 1 more defender. That's the key to stopping option football. It's just got to be disheartening if you're this Charlotte defense, realizing on the other side you're not getting much help from the offensive side. Get a timeout from Navy.
Ryan Newberry sprinting down the sideline, wanted to avoid the delay of game.
Prior to the delay of game, timeout, Navy, they're first.
You know, you think about Navy, 2019, they had the 11-2 season. And the last couple of years have not been up to what we expect from Navy. They made a coaching change in the offseason after longtime head coach Ken Niumatalolo was let go. They hire Brian Newberry, who was the defensive coordinator. And Coach Newberry certainly not making an excuse, but I asked him, Taylor, if he thought that they could get this program moving in the right direction, kind of back it. And he said ultimately, he said, look, he said, there are going to be some up years and there are going to be some down years. He said, but there's no reason that we cannot win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy and be a bowl team every single year. And he pointed to some of the difficulties related to the 2020 season.
Well, and that they did not have a COVID year. At Navy, those kids that were on that team in 2020, their clock advanced forward and they moved on when their 4 years ran out at the academy.
To the outside and a big play in the offense. Another first down as Eli Heidenreich carries it off the pitch.
But going back to that lack of having a 2020 season, there were a lot of guys, veterans, that didn't get that year back. And your young guys, it just took a long time to try and get this thing going back in the right direction. Injuries have plagued them as well. 2 of their captains have been down. Mertezi on the offensive side. We've talked some about Busick on the defensive side. Now you're down 2 quarterbacks as well. And this staff, Brian Newberry and his staff, are not going to make excuses about it, but there have been some challenges that Navy's had to face that a lot of schools, especially going back to the COVID 2020 year, don't have to see that.
High toss on the pitch. That's Hassan.
They also,
and now Charlotte will take a timeout.
Sorry, Richard. They also are not able, Navy is not able to go to the transfer portal in the way that almost every other school in the country does in this day and age. That's not something where they don't like a specific position group. They get rid of the guys that they have and they go out and they get somebody else. It doesn't work that way. That's why they use the prep school. They lean on the guys that they have in place. It's clearly built very different at any of the service academies. I did love Coach Newberry's answer, though, where he said one of the ways that we can be different is we should be able to recruit at a higher level moving forward, because you have so many of our schools that we compete against, they're solving their problems in the portal and they're passing on high school guys that maybe in the past they wouldn't have come to one of the academies, but now we have a chance to go get them out of high school.
And no NIL.
And no NIL. But it's so different. I mean, how refreshing were the conversations that we had with the players this week?
Oh, they were incredible.
We asked Nathan Kent specifically about, hey, you know, sometimes if you don't get targets, how does that feel? He said, I don't play football to get catches. I'm out there to play football and serve my country. I love the conversation with him where he talked about, look, I wanted to enlist. I was going to be in the military regardless. This opportunity with Navy just happened to come about.
Woodson trying to make a play, shoved out of bounds. Clock will continue to roll because we are outside 2 minutes.
Trying to run away from Dantes Fag in the corner on the outside, and that is a fast dude on the edge for Charlotte.
And now I think Charlotte taking another timeout, burning their final timeout to stop the clock with 5:10 to play. And a critical 3rd down coming up. Different second half for Navy offensively after no points by either team in the first 30 minutes of this game. It started with a big passing play with Braxton Woodson hitting Heidenreich. And then the defense continued to cook with the interception. They forced the turnover on the hit by quarterback. And then Alex Tesco with the house call.
It was defined by those 2 key plays on offense to me. I mean, the turnover that was created by the defensive side was fantastic, but the defense was playing well all game. To me, it just goes back to they finally converted something in the passing game to Heidenreich. And then Tesco, who was bottled up for the entire first half, missed assignment in the interior. Nobody closes down on the dive back. He makes them pay for it. On the defensive side, 3 sacks. Interception, a fumble recovery, creating those 2 second-half turnovers has been key. 8 sacks a week ago against North Texas.
Third and 8. Toss to Hassan to the outside. He's still on his feet across the 45. He got the first down. Run out of bounds just shy of midfield. A huge run there for Amin Hassan.
And with the way this Charlotte offense has looked, I'm not sure that it would have mattered either way, but especially now with Charlotte down to no timeouts. Backbreaker there. Navy picking up that first down. We have a Charlotte defender down on the other side.
Can't tell yet who that is. 5:05 to play. Navy with a 2-score lead and the ball. And they are not going to be putting it in the air at this point.
There's going to be some soul searching for Charlotte for sure coming off of this. I mean, this was 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Came off of the bye week. They'd been away from home for a month. This was home opener in the American Conference, sellout crowd, really a fantastic environment today. A missed opportunity. This was a game that Biff Poggi told us we've got to win this game. And the offensive performance clearly not there, struggled all game to find any sort of consistency moving the football, especially throwing the football. And losing your best player on the team, not going to help.
Anoma 3 sacks in the last couple of games coming into today. Such a good player for Charlotte. You hope that is he's banged up and not an injury that costs him any significant time.
Well, and not just time with his time here at Charlotte, but that's a guy that has a legitimate chance to make an NFL roster at the next level. He's that talented. Hope that it's just minor.
Head coaches facing off against each other today that are both not just first-year head coaches in the American, but first-ever head coaches. Brian Newberry in season number 1, trying to see his Navy ball club go to 500 on the year, get to 3-3, and pick up their second American Conference win. Woodson keeps it. Not only do you have Brian Newberry and Biff Poggi in this game, but also Trent Dilfer at UAB, Alex Golesh in South Florida. Dilfer came from the high school ranks. Golesh was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee a year ago.
I think I'm most impressed to this point in the season with South Florida and the job that Alex Golesh has done. Richard, you and I had them a couple times late in the season last year, and that was a really bad football team that did not have a lot of talent left over on that roster, and he's done an incredible job turning that team over, getting them to buy in. And I think in his first year at South Florida, they've got a legitimate chance of being a bowl team in his first year.
Yeah, you think about a couple of the playmakers that they did have on that team a year ago. Brian Battie, who was so dynamic in the return game. He's now at Auburn. Joe Horn Jr., who is making huge plays for Colorado Buffaloes this year. And so it certainly has been a start over thing for USF. But you listen to Alex Golesh talk. There is a lot of passion and an expectation that they are going to win. Woodson might should have given it that time. He took a shot in the backfield on 3rd down. Brings up 4th down. Charlotte cannot stop the clock. Imagine that Navy will allow this one to go all the way down to 1 second and then take a timeout and then punt it away. I would think.
I don't think it really matters if they do decide to come back out after the timeout. Try and hard count, see if they can get a cheap 5 yards. Got a fantastic punter in Riley Reithman. 5 yards going backwards is not really going to impact Reithman too much.
It is a timeout that's taken by Navy. Gives us a chance to look at today's Geico players of the game. The defense today for Navy has been really impressive. Nobody more so than Will Harbor and Colin Ramos.
Felt like we said Will Harbor's name a ton in the first half, especially. Had the half sack, hurry, 9 tackles, and then the 7 tackles on the other side, and the forced fumble for Ramos. Thought he showed up especially in the fourth quarter as we take another couple look. Will Harbor getting in there in the interior, unblocked. Throw behind, a good job by Ramos. I thought this was really a turning point in the game. Right when Charlotte had a little bit of momentum, they're moving the football. Ramos comes untouched. More pressure from Navy that gets home.
We were talking about Will Harbor earlier today, and our producer Stas Hall was quick to point out Andy's got a neck roll or cowboy collar if you prefer. You don't see those just every day. Did you play with one of those as a quarterback? You look like a neck roll guy.
Oh man, I did run the triple option for a year in high school, but no, I didn't have a neck roll.
Hey, we had an option element in our offense in high school. You know what I did?
You subbed out?
No, I pitched a lot. Either the fullback was getting the ball or the tailback was getting the ball on a pitch quickly. Underneath, complete. Wayne Thomas on the reception from
across the middle to number 10, Dwayne Thomas Jr.
Ivy. All right, so what about Trexler Ivy? Do you see a path forward for him to grow? I mean, he's made some good throws in the fourth quarter. There have been some moments for him, but they've come in kind of relief pitching opportunities. Goes down, pressure again. That's another sack by Navy.
Moments for sure in the second half, and there were bright spots, but not a lot of them. And I thought the first quarter especially, there were throws to be made. Had some happy feet moving around. Timing wasn't there, especially on the deep balls. These are all things that they'll go back as a staff and be able to point it out, and there's going to be clearly a ton of tape to learn from. You just wonder, it was very obvious in this game they were going to stick with Trexler Ivy no matter what. Gave him a full 4 quarters, and I just wonder week over week, do they go back with Jalen Jones or do they stick with Trexler Ivy next week?
Ivy complete on this pass to Sean Brown. That's Sean Brown's second reception of the year. 5th-year senior from Waxhaw, North Carolina. Transfer in from UNC Pembroke. 1:06 to play. Navy leading 14-0. Charlotte still trying to avoid the shutout. Trexler Ivy going to take off and run. Goes across midfield. That picks up the first down, so the clock will stop for the chains to move.
And one of the other things, this is a really challenging defense for it to be your first start. Navy brings a ton of pressure, and I thought that got to Trexler Ivy early in the game. And they knew that coming in. Navy, again, for their front 4, really their front 3 with so much odd front, is too small. They can't just rush 3 or 4, so they bring all that pressure. And for a young quarterback, it clearly rattled him early.
This was complete down to the 41. Jack Reynolds on the catch. Clock rolling inside 30 seconds. Chadrick Bird on the screen pass. Clock will stop for the first down with just 14 seconds to play. Navy trying to pitch a shutout for the second time this season. They beat Wagner earlier this year by a final of 24-0. Feel like Charlotte probably going to take a shot at the end zone here. But prior to the shutout against Wagner, you got to go all the way back to 2008. Tell me if you think the midshipmen remember the 34-0 win over Army.
I remember watching that game. Yeah, it's a big win for Navy. They fought through some adversity, figured some things out on the offensive side. Wasn't exactly how they wanted it to look, but at the halfway mark, they get back to 3-3. Got to be happy about that. And again, it sets up a huge matchup next week against Air Force.
Ivy toward the end zone. Final play of the game. Batted around, and is it intercepted? It is intercepted. What a way to finish the game for the Naval Academy, who goes to 3-3 on the season and picks up its second consecutive American Conference win. Brian Newberry's team on the road today in a sold-out Jerry Richardson Stadium. Great crowd on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, but a spoiled homecoming as Biff Poggi and Brian Newberry meet on the field. Biff Poggi was adamant in his praise yesterday and his affection for the Naval Academy. Let's go downstairs and check in with Morgan Uber, who's got the winning head coach.
Coach, this game ends on an interception in the end zone. Your defense, they didn't just get 6, they got 8. What impressed you with that group today to shut out the 49ers?
Well, it's appropriate to finish it that way with the interception on defense. I thought they played lights out. I'm so proud of Coach Volk and the defensive staff and our players, man. They did a hell of a job. Holding that team to 0 points is big time. And on the flip side of that, found a way to score 14 points in the second half. The message was find a way, and they did. I'm proud of them.
60-plus yards on both of those plays, a run and a passing TD. What was the difference coming out of halftime for your offense?
Well, big plays. I mean, we knew we had to hit some big ones, and we did. And great catch by Eli, great throw by the freshman, and then big run by Alex Texas. And had to have it, and we got it. So
for Braxton, really getting his first playing time, the majority of this game, what impressed you? What did you learn about your freshman?
He was pretty calm, cool, and collected. You know, he made a few mistakes, but as you'd expect with a freshman. But really proud of him. He's going to be a special player moving forward. I know that. And but it's good to get him in there for some critical moments.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate the time. Congrats.
So Brian Newberry told us that they wanted to try and